Good evening, Guelph. You are listening to CFRU 93.3 Campus Community Radio. Tonight's show, Underpaid and Underplayed, is hosted by myself, Braden Johnson, and my co-host, Brian McNeil.
What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a good dinner.
Yeah, so hope you're enjoying the weather today. Even though I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, it was still enjoyable to not be freezing cold. So tonight's show, what do we have tonight, Brian?
Tonight we got Nate Cole's an interview and 4 songs with the wonderful Nathan Cole's outfit, who does the Sunday night open stage every week at the Jimmy Jazz.
Great. And were you actually, speaking of the Jimmy Jazz and vinyl, were you able to catch the Trailer Park Boys?
I did, actually. I was almost front row for Randy and Leahy, and what a fun show. I enjoy them every time they come around. Yeah, I bought the Dictionary. It's nice. John Dunsworth, who plays Mr. Leahy. Yeah. It's his new publication. It's a dictionary it's a glossary of terms of metaphors that are used in the Trailer Park Boys show. I wasn't able to catch the show, but I watched the show last week. And I always use the show as a sort of a level for my life. Like, if Ricky would do it, I'm doing something wrong, you know. Anyway, back to the show here. We're going to start off with Nate Cole's. Alrighty.
We're going to play a couple of his songs, followed by an interview by Brian himself and Nate Cole's. So what's the first track that we have?
The first track that we got coming up is called Needlewood, and the second is called I Watch. So enjoy Nathan Cole's. Yeah,
he's a local Guelph guy, and that's what the show is all about. It's about local artists, people passing through Guelph, playing in Guelph, live recordings, just supporting local music where it would otherwise not be able to get heard. So thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Like a fever. for no one like a tear. You're the highlight of what's felt that's dear. Surprisingly worried, like a light that just might just shine so bright, so bright. It felt like a needle, it felt like wood, felt like all things I said I should. So the season, something kind, it was your words that made me find all the fever in them eyes made wide. Oh, 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 yeah. Felt like it should. The needle of the wood, it's inside out. I didn't have doubt about. I'm religion morning. I'm telling you something. I'm paged by the Bible. Oh, someone said someone was liable. You mention your body to coast by and keep up. Red knapsack this way. Long blonde hair running. Oh, I watch. Oh, time is mentioning me. Your mind's thick and lazy. You're coarse but forgiven. Hard-edged jaw you're kicking. You mention your body to coast by high and keep up. Red knapsack this way. Long blonde hair running. Is mentioning me. Oh,
is Brian McNeil, a.k.a. Mac Vandal, reporting for CFRU 93.3 Radio, University of Guelph. And I'm here with Nate Coles, the open stage host every Sunday night at Jimmy Jazz, and going to ask some questions, do a little interview. So, Nate, how you been? How long have you been doing the open stage here?
10 years.
Right on. And how long have you been recording or performing music?
Since I was 18, 19.
So about 5 years ago.
Something like that, yeah. 5 years ago.
Good stuff. What's your favorite or the biggest venue that you can recall that you've ever performed at?
I don't know. It's been a number, I guess. It's fun playing overseas in Germany. Played a festival that was called the Bullshit Festival. And
interesting name.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It was in a courtyard in like old buildings and shit like that, and just lots of people, and some kid's birthday who I guess over there it's their job to provide all the alcohol. And so we had this guy buying us drinks all night, and we kept explaining to him that we have free drinks tonight. Don't waste your money, spend it on your friends. But yeah, there was that kind of night where we just kept buying us drinks.
Sounds like a really fun time. Who's the biggest or your favorite performer that you've ever performed or shared a stage with?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the Skydiggers. That was a good thing, playing with Andy Mays.
And Paul McLeod was part of that group at one point.
It was, yeah. And I don't know. We had a number of people come here to the stage as well. Had a night where we played with Huxley Workman, and I played drums, he played guitar, and then we switched it up. That was kind of a fun night.
I saw Huxley Workman at the River Run Center, and what an amazing show. So I could only imagine that would be a really fun time. Also at Hillside Festival, I like to go back to this one. What's the favorite food item and the favorite restaurant of a place or a venue, close to a venue? For example, in Germany, what's your favorite food item and restaurant, if you can remember, that you've enjoyed?
Max Bar. I don't remember what I ate at all, but it was great.
Very good, very good. Where do you see? Where's your career currently at? I know you play here, and you're also involved. You have a family. What does your family consist of?
It's myself and Penelope and Lachlan.
And so you're doing music full time, or do you also work in another area?
I chuck wood around by day.
Carpentry?
Construction, yeah.
Very good. What's your favorite song to perform?
It's too open. I honestly don't mean to be vague, but yeah, it all depends on the night. Whatever the night feels like, a certain song needs to be played, and that's probably going to be the one that sounds great that night.
How much do you pay to record a full album with mastering and everything, just for the young artists out there?
I don't. It all depends on how deep you go into recording, I guess, and how much money you spend in the studio. And you can be a minimalist and get it done easy in your house and do it all yourself, or you can. I've only done one recording where I went to a printer and whatnot and got them all pressed out. And I think the end, it was maybe somewhere around balls. I don't know, $7,000 or something like that.
Pretty penny, and I own that album. What a great album. You're going to hear some of these songs before and after this interview. I'd like to ask you now, what kind of guitar do you use, and what's your rig setup?
It's a Telecaster, and I don't know, heavy strings, and an amp. and I don't know, I just dial it to what I think's nice. Pretty simple setup.
Cool. I noticed that you do your own sound technician type stuff when you come here. It seems to be to me that you are kind of the go-to guy here on a couple nights of the week to do audio technician stuff. And how important is the interpersonal relationship between the artist and the sound tech?
Oh, that's paramount. You just gotta hope you have someone that knows what they're doing, and if they don't, do your best not to impose your ways on them, or else they get frustrated. And yeah, that's it. Be nice to your sound man.
Be nice to your sound man. I completely agree with you, and that's a shout out to all the young artists to definitely make sure that you spend some time to get to know your local sound guy and make sure that you obey what he has to say. So thank you very much, Nate Coles.
You're quite welcome. Cheers.
And this is Brian McNeil, a.k.a. Mac Vandal, doing an interview with Nate Coles at Jimmy Jazz, who's here every Sunday night to do open stage downtown Guelph.
Could you get by with the money down here? Or would you silently adore it with motives unclear? You're challenged by the evening when you fold your gray eyes. You're waiting for that new world, but there's some surprise. You're waiting for the eager days on old. You're speaking with them cruel lips. You're 50 years old. How come you can't handle these so-called day-to-days? You're speaking like a weary son, but still you stay. That's why I think it's strange. Your wife said that you're better off dead. Looking back now, I'm sure that I'd see red. Feeling kind of open, but bothered and wild. You think about them old days by that cold turnstile. How come you can't handle these so-called day-to-days? You're speaking like a weary son, but still you stay away from what she brought in. I would say that you will always be, because as she brings I painted all over your seats. Stupid, but buttered inside. You're patient, but you worry about that cold, dark side. How come you can't handle these so-called day-to-days? You're speaking like that weary son, but still you stay. So that's why I think it's strange. Your wife said you're better off dead. Looking back now, I'm sure that I'd see red. worth by without favoring, noticing why you came around, just checking. Got a town of your own home, you settle in. Round these parts you're nothing much but a separate dish. Everybody but not without favoring, noticing why you can't forget that dish. You're tiny, you tuck it out, been traveling all day with a mouth that's bigger than the hottest strong day. Got a fever that's bothersome, you're the coarsest side of rum. Like a deed you're tickling all the feed that you're drinking in. Favorite vibe but not without favoring, noticing why you can't forget that day. On the cold side of what's real, favored by this here deal. Open hands, they wonder why. Favored by this here feel. You're favoring, yeah, you're favoring. Taste of something new, saw the one vibe in you, kind of coarse but realized by the ones you testify. Like a deed you're kicking it, you sprinkle hot and this isn't night, it isn't fall, it's the morning once called. Favorite vibe but not without favoring, noticing why you can't forget that day. On the cold side of what's real, favored by this here deal. Open hands, they wonder why. Favored by this here feel. Favoring, yeah, you're favoring, favoring.
Welcome back. That was the last song there was called Subdued by Nate Coles, and the second last song was called Wife by Nate Coles, also the Nathan Coles outfit. And the album was called 12 Upheavals That Brought the Redwoods to Flight. And I'm hoping that Nate Coles comes out with something new. I've been hearing him play a lot of new music.
Yeah, you mentioned that he was playing some new stuff, so yeah. maybe we'll yet to hear more from the mighty Nate Coles.
Yeah. Paul McLeod's a big fan. I had to mention that.
Yeah, he just sent a text saying, yeah,
that he's a big fan.
That he's a big fan.
We were supposed to have him live in the studio today, but he got stuck in Toronto, so
Yeah,
maybe
so
next week
we will have him on the show to do a live thing, among other artists with live shows right from the studio. So you are listening to Underpaid and Underplayed on CFRU.
Where local musicians and artists are unrated, underappreciated, unnoticed, battered, abused, and swept under the rug.
Living show to show without secure benefits like medieval jesters.
Run with the kittens. You're actually listening to it right now. I played a song for my hamster that just died. Absolutely. I lied.
Underplayed and underpaid.
Real local music.
Use what you have.
All the canned rock stuff. And the canned rock stuff too.
Chuck Wood around.
We won't get into that.
That was a good thing.
Mondays at 6 p.m.
What was special to me, really cool, amazing, incredible. Like, I need to rise up to this level.
Phenomenal.
Definitely incredible.
Probably the coolest.
Strong. You're a people-aholic.
Oh.
Wow, you're killing me.
I'll try not to swear.
CFRU 93.3.
Wow, the food was
Delicious.
had a smorgasbord of awesomeness.
It's not your regular breakfast sausage.
I also ate some cocktail wieners and drank some melon liqueur one morning very early on the tour bus.
Hello, this is Brian McNeil and CFRU 93.3. I had a lot of fun making that commercial, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's featuring a whole lot of different artists that I cut up and Run with the Kittens, Joni Narita, Nate Coles, Derek Hines.
Yeah, sounds good, Brian.
I had a lot of fun making it.
So also I want to mention that Kazoo Fest is coming up in Guelph. I believe it's April 13th to 17th, downtown Guelph. There's a lot of great artists coming. Too many to name, but we're gonna play some music of the artists that are going to be performing there coming up, and a few other local artists as well. I think we're going to start off here with the Skeletons 4. The Skeletons 4, Andrew Collins, Evan Gordon, Jordan Howard, and Johnny Merritt have clawed their way out of the musty catacombs deep below the city of Guelph. Their debut album, and it's spelled the same way it sounds, in March 2009 was in songs by Collins recorded over the course of several years, featuring a healthy dose of electric and acoustic string instruments, analog synthesizers, saxophones, and moaning ghost choirs. As part of the Kazoo Fest, the Skeletons 4 will be releasing a stunning new record called Gravestone Rock, which is sure to thrill fans of the intricate post-prog pop.
I'm excited for that one. Evan Gordon is a phenomenal performer, so hope you guys get out and see him.
For more information, you can go to kazoo.ca for specific listings of when each artist is playing.
Which venue.
And where they're playing. It's a different venues all across downtown Guelph, including Ebar, Van Gogh's, Cornerstone.
I think Atmospheres.
Atmosphere
might have one.
A lot of good places. So stay tuned, and this is the Skeletons 4 with Ace of Hearts from the album Ah. That was the Skeletones off the album with the track Porcupine Quills. The Skeletones are going to be playing at the Kazoo Fest coming up in Guelph on April 13th to 17th downtown.
Very excited.
Yes, I encourage you all to come out, and it should be a lot of fun, see some great artists. So next up, we have a little bit of a different thing going on here with Brian. We're going to have different small segments with interesting
facts, interesting things. Today's going to be, I'm going to call this Documentary Corner.
Yeah, so it's Brian's Documentary Corner. So take it away, Brian.
All right, so perusing the Facebooks just the other day, I came across, I can't we'll call it Exhibit A. That's my friend's name for this little bit. He posted a thing that read, I read on Yahoo's homepage a few days ago that scientists are saying that what they call mega disasters are going to be more common form of disaster. No explanation why, but if you're ever wondering why and how, don't worry, because it's the norm now. Which, of course, sparked a huge debate. And I watch a lot of documentaries, and I feel like the more documentaries you take in, the more information you can sift through and come to a better conclusion. And so in the middle of this argument, all the different people, we'll call this other person Exhibit B, they decided to leave this on his page. It reads, "It doesn't matter whether the climate changes are man-made or not. There are similar disruptions long before we came along, although evidence suggests that they were less rapid and that we humans are helping it along this time, and they were always accompanied by the kind of surge in weather-related phenomena that we're expecting now." Which was absolutely crazy to me because there's no evidence. There's no scientific documented proof that her statement would be right. So I just decided that there's no evidence that we affect climate change, and I put a link for a lovely little documentary called The Great Global Warming Swindle. And this documentary was produced by an independent UK producer named Martin Durkin, and he's done a lot of different, we'll call it dissent style documentaries, and it's great. There's Canadian professors from the University of Ottawa, major scientists from all over the world. I highly recommend you check it out. It's called The Great Global Warming Swindle, and it basically talks about how there's no evidence for Al Gore to go out and make all these assumptions and start charging people carbon tax credits and all these other things. And so after I posted that on my friend Exhibit A's Facebook page, Exhibit B decided to come back and say, "I'm not interested in arguing the point, and as I said, it's not relevant to this discussion." So she then said, and right away, "However, before anyone wastes an hour on the video, you might be interested to know that some scientists whose work and words were used in the documentary have claimed that their research was radically misrepresented and that the conclusions reached in the documentary are not supported." So I had to go on the search. I had to go contact some people. And so I decided I was going to contact the professor from University of Ottawa who was depicted in the video, and his name was Dr. Ian Clark, and renowned, very, very awesome dude. So here's my letter to him. This is Brian. I'm currently in a discussion with someone who is adamant that The Great Global Warming Swindle is a pseudo-documentary full of falsified information and misrepresented data. I'm doing some research. I read that ExxonMobil may have funded the documentary and that you personally took a hit against your credibility. Do you stand by your statements in the documentary, or did you recant your statements? I seem to want to believe a Canadian professor over a blogging specialist. Répondez s'il vous plaît, Brian. And the very next day, he was very prompt in replying to me. And here's Dr. Ian Douglas Clark's reply to my letter. "Sure, I've been slammed by bloggers, but the documentary was put together by an independent producer from the UK. Certainly no oil funding. I have never received any funding from anyone to speak about climate facts and fictions. My credibility is fine, as I receive more than enough research money from my community. This swindle is totally factual. I remain convinced that climate warming is natural. The only evidence, quote-unquote, for human-caused warming is the models, and the models are impossibly simplistic notion that a bit of CO2 warms the air and drives up water vapor to high levels, which does the warming. This feedback has never been observed. In fact, the geological record shows that increases in CO2 have no impact on warming." And then he shared some sites like www.climateaudit.org. That's climate audit, all one word, if you're that interested. And www.friendsofscience.org, all one word. And www.scienceandpublicpolicy.org. So I did a little bit more research, and then I had to revisit Exhibit A, his blog, and Exhibit B. I wanted to get back to her. So here's my reply back. It seems, Exhibit B, like you got interested in arguing the point, but just because you can't find debunking stuff in Google search doesn't make you right. I sent you the email reply that I got from Professor Ian Clark today. The documentary is worth the look. I suggest you open your mind and check it out. To which she replied, just remember, if you're too open-minded, your brains will fall out. To which I replied, so if you're a tightwad, you run a risk of... Sorry, if you're not a tightwad, you run a risk of pooping your pants. And I say this for comedic value only. I hope that you decide to take some time and witness all the credible people in the documentary expressing their professional opinions. And then I heard nothing back. I don't want to say I won. I'm not a Charlie Sheen winning, but you got to take in more facts. You can't be closed-minded to everything. So that was The Great Global Warming Swindle by Martin Durkin. And I hope that you guys go on Google Video and check it out. It's about 70 minutes long.
Cool. Thanks, Brian. That was Brian's Documentary Corner. So next week we also have a new thing coming. It's going to be interviews and short spiels by comedians of a comedy show that actually goes on in Kitchener every Sunday night at Little Bean Coffee Bar. It's a brand new thing that just started a couple of weeks ago, and the goal is just to start a network of comedians in Kitchener and around an area. So there's actually a couple comedians from Guelph that go there regularly, and I'm hoping to get some interviews with them, and it should be interesting. Comedians are funny.
Special breed. They're a special breed. I'm very excited about that too.
If they're not too drunk. Okay, so what do we have next? What are we going to play?
What would you like to play? I say we go with Guelph based. Let's play some word people.
Keep it local. Keep it good.
I haven't heard any word people in a while, and that's DJ'd by DJ DMS, also known as Alan Hendricks, who used to run Baseline Studios downtown Guelph, selling records and producing hip-hop MCs. And this album is called The People's Eatery, which they were lucky enough to tour Europe with. And let me see. Well, they would like to thank family friends, King Adam, Sean Nimmons, Lou Wop, Dylan Upper, The Good Lovelies, Winter, N.I. Gel, Fat Al, Arthur Creakies, Maria Jose, and a whole bunch of other, Mocha Only, and a whole bunch of other people who contributed in bringing their album into fruition.
All right, so this is The People's Eatery on CFRU 93.3.
Time to open up shop. Word. Yeah. I know you down, things ain't what they seem to be. You look around like you need a change of scenery. Well, tucked in between greenery and the machinery. What? I know a joint where it all flows easily. The type of spot you could go to frequently and still feel like here's where I need to be. Word is the currency, cats roll peacefully. Let me introduce you to the new. Let me introduce you to the new People's Eatery. You feel it like stepping into the place. Take a seat, grab a drink, sink into the face. Got soul in the bowl and some love on the place. Where you wanna go today? Where you wanna go today? You feel it like coming into the jam. If it's all relative, we extend it like fam. To make you feel at home, we do what we can. Where you wanna go today? Where you wanna go today? The hot meal on the stove coming in from the corner. It's acting a fool at whatever years old. The menu in the venue, read the manifesto. Good life, good people, gotta get with those. I know the personnel well in the establishment. And matter of fact, I helped establish it. And for those that don't know what the attraction is, we get down to make them clap. We never clap hammer, no soprano, no, that ain't in the range. It's on a high note like falsetto sustained. I switch pitch if it works with the aim. Baritone and vote like we're speaking on deep bang. So get better with age. Got tenor like a tenor when we take to the stage. Don't need much if a choir refrains. I kick a chorus on the corner for kudos and loose change.
Baritone it is. I make flows with my people when we doing the biz. As sure as it is, you know people don't stop till we creeping on top. But it's planet hip hop. It's a sure thing that this music will blow. If you fuse it with the love that you feel from the shows and that the views from above don't diminish your soul. We can all get together forever. We try to grow. We can all get together forever. We try to grow.
You feel it like stepping into the place. Take a seat, grab a drink, sink into the face. Got soul in the bowl and some love on the place. Where you wanna go today? Where you wanna go today? extended like fam. To make you feel at home, we do what you can. Where you wanna go today? Where you wanna go today? Over loops of ease, we can shoot the breeze. Sit back, chit chat if it suits your needs.
Automatic, topic with the microvision optic. I'm equipped to let it rip. You let me know when I'm a drop.
Well, we can pound the beats, get them out the seats. Hit the ground with the sound, make them wanna reach.
I'm just a tweeter like I make you feel the speaker tongue twisted, mile and sex. In other words, we're killing me.
We can love the vibe if you're down to ride. And all the bad things happen, let them stay outside.
Shake it off anonymous, I love it, you're a part of this. I keep it going all night, I love it how your body twists.
That's the way the eatery be to the end of this. I love you for you, so show all your blemishes.
Unapologetically, we keep it rocking steadily. The eatery, the place to be, you really wanna let it free.
You feeling like stepping into the place. Take a seat, grab a drink, sink into the face. Got soul in the bowl and some love on the place. Where you wanna go today? Where you wanna go today, baby? You feeling like coming into the jam. If it's all relative, we extend it like fam. To make you feel at home, we do what we can. Where you wanna go today? Where you wanna go today? You feeling like stepping into the place. Take a seat, grab a drink, sink into the face. Got soul in the bowl and some love on the place. Where you wanna go today? 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 Happy baby. Y'all know what they say, all work and no play. So after the hard day and at the bar to parlay, she came through the door, he was chilling on the far side. That's the reason why she keep passing him by. So his eyes are at work, scanning more skirts than boutique store clerks. Just to make the connect, got him asking more questions than a Jeopardy contestant. Excuse me, miss. Yo, can I get your name? Well, if we can't make it happen, it'll be a damn shame. Cause your frame say play, but I'm trying to run games. It's a hot time, I wanna cool it with you. Get down with the things I know you're into. And if she dusts you off, gotta respect that, son. It's no sweat off your brow, check the next one.
So we walks down the block to the next hot spot. Can't get her off his mind. It's a
cool night, bought another caller. Working man, I wanna spend $1. Got a number, don't answer when you call. That's the nitty-gritty, ain't got no girl in the city. Two-stepping with a one-track mind. Downtown girl, dressed so fine. She gotta watch, but she ain't got the time. That's the nitty-gritty, ain't got no girl in the city.
Finally see his luck get changed. Stepped to the tall bombshell, had a pleasant exchange. Exchanging digits, she's like, cool, I'm with it. When he asked her if after she was cool to kick it. With the stereo loud, they just hang out, bang out. Favorite records and as they sang out. He feeling blessed, he can say now, I got a little piece of sunshine if it rained out. Without a care in the world, he really cared for this girl. And he wasn't trying to own her, but he told her, I never let you go, I was looking for something valuable. And since I found you, pearl, you're the rarest in the world. That could have been a bit over passionate. Said summer love, I wanna commit. He thought they'd take a little time, but she was just passing it. That night she left a note, man, she had to split.
He's walking down the block in the same predicament. Can't get her off his mind. It's a
cool night, bought another caller. Working man, I wanna spend $1. Got a number, don't answer when you call. That's the nitty-gritty, ain't got no girl in the city. Two-stepping with a one-track mind. Downtown girl, dressed so fine. She gotta watch, but she ain't got the time. That's the nitty-gritty, ain't got no girl in the city.
Must change when it's summer in the city. It's long, hot days, many ladies in mini skirts, and they flirt on the strip looking pretty. Downtown corner cats sweating those kitties. Love is a chase when it's summer in the city. Long, hot days, plenty ladies in mini skirts, and they flirt on the strip looking pretty. The cool cats keep sweating those kitties. It's
all night, bought another caller. Working man, I wanna spend $1. Got a number, she don't answer when you call. That's the nitty-gritty.